Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to another speed build. Today we are going to be building the Dwarfs Cottage from Snow White for our Princess Legacy Let's Play. I guess for the sake of our Let's Play, it's actually Snow White's cottage because she's going to have 7 kids in this cottage, but the build itself is very much inspired by the Walt Disney classic. Now, I'll be honest, this is not my first attempt at building this cottage in The Sims 4. About a year ago, I was doing this series that was like 100 tiny Disney homes, and we did end up building this cottage, but as a tiny home. So to be able to actually build it full size, a dream, because you can do so much more when you're building to scale, which is really nice. I wanted this one to feel a little bit more like the movie. I know with the castle we were like, all right, it's loosely inspired by, but like we have the equipment, we have cottage living, we have get together, we have everything that we need to build the cottage fairly close to accurate. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Again, I had to keep gameplay in mind, which usually when I'm building, I'm like, no, aesthetics over gameplay. Let's make this thing pretty. I don't care if a sim has to be in it. But again, this build is for the Disney Princess Legacy Let's Play. So we will be playing in this. But I'm feeling pretty good about its playability. I think the one thing we might have to change is some of the beds, depending on if they're toddlers, children, etc. But overall, I think we're gonna be okay. It's just gonna be, it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight. So we've got good bones right now. Like the outside of the cottage is looking the way that it should. A lot of people would ask when I'm streaming, like, how do you approach a build like this? Honestly, I just would pull up a reference picture and just kind of trial and error, figure out what the dimensions are going to be, what's going to work best with the way that The Sims lays out its windows and its doors and which one fits the vibe more, and try to match it the best that you can, but also like have fun with it. Like, don't be afraid to do something that's a little outside the box, it's a little bit different. And honestly, I think that's half the fun of like a recreation build. Is that what we call these, recreations? Or like, I don't know. We are building off of source material, essentially, is what we're doing here. Okay, so now we're getting into the landscaping, which is one of my favorite parts because it's just a fun little way to bring a little bit more life to a lot and make it feel more realistic. I feel like some of these lots, especially in the middle of the woods, just feel like an empty clearing when you start, and adding little trees and bushes and things like that really just helps bring life to the lot. Which, it looks like I got distracted and started placing down barrels and flowers and things, which, you know, to be fair, still adds life, adds character to the build. The details on the outside of your build are just as important as the details on the inside of your build. You just saw there me cycle through like 4 different trees, and I was like, these trees are just too dang thick. They're too thick, they're gonna block the view. Oh, and we can't forget the rabbits. We've got to have our little forest friends that are going to help us clean this cottage. We're going to be raising 7 kids, you know? We got to have rabbit friends. Look at how nice that porch looks. And then I moved to the roof because honestly, I don't think that there's ever such thing as too much detail. Like anywhere that you can add a little bit of nuance into a build, go ahead and do it. And they give us those nice thatched roof pieces. I was like, this is perfect. These are going on top. And you'll see that I start adding these support beams, logs. What are those called? I don't know. Pieces of wood that stick out from the front. They just make it look nice. It's like a nice little extra detail. And this is where I start using more landscape to kind of just blur that line between the edge of the lot and the world. And then I was like, I have this big open space of the lot. Like, what am I going to put here? And I was like, I guess I could put laundry up here, put a back door, kind of fence this off. And I wanted to just give us more activities that we could do. So I gave them a garden because cottage living, it makes sense. Okay, just go with it. So they've got a cute little garden over here that I was able to put a couple more trees by, and it ends up being really cute, like a nice little just addition that's obviously not part of the movie, but it's going to give your Sims activities. It gives us a little bit more visual interest in the lot and really fills up that space, which is really nice. And then somewhere along the way, I just decided we're just going to add all of the barrels. So there's one right there. There's a whole stack of them in the back. I was just trying to think of like, what are some things that they would have around in the lawn that would just give it a little bit more character, make it feel a little bit more 7 Dwarves, even though like obviously it's Snow White's house and she's raising 7 kids in our rendition. I really just wanted to make this build feel lived in. Now we're moving on to the floor plan, which again, I wanted to bring inspiration from the movie. So I put this little door on the side with some stairs, and that door leads to what's going to become the bedrooms. And then I was like, okay, all I need now is just a bathroom, which is right there, and then a living room, kitchen, dining space. Which is, again, it's cramped, it's tight. How are we gonna raise 7 kids in here? I don't know. I added these little landings up here to put beds on so that we had space for 7 beds when they're all grown. I'm actually really proud of what I came up with in terms of layout for this because it's kind of challenging, especially when you're doing recreations off of a cartoon. 9 times out of 10, what's inside the house doesn't match what the outside of the house looks like, and that can be really frustrating when you're trying to build these things in The Sims. So as I started to furnish this house, I was like, I'm just gonna throw some items down just to get like a feel of what I wanted. And then I ended up like picking the items that I was gonna go with and didn't realize that I just wasn't adding lights into the build at all. So it's a little dark, but I do add, and let there be light, we have lights. I wish you could have seen my face when I remembered that we had these little mining lights from, I think it's high school years. I was like, these are perfect. I'm putting them everywhere. The dwarves would definitely be carrying these in from the mines, setting them down. I loved them. Also, we need to talk about this poolside Riviera wallpaper, the stone texture. Chef's kiss. Like, give me more stone textures like that, or actually give me different stone textures because I love that one too much. But the way that that wall complements the cottage living wood tone floors, I was like screaming internally in my mind. Also, doing different chairs at different spots of the table made me so happy. I was like, there's no way that these dwarves have matching chairs. They do not have matching chairs. That would be ridiculous. So I gave them all mix match different chairs. I did briefly consider giving them like chairs to match their personality, and then I was like, that's not cute. What's cute is different like wood tone chairs, and obsessed with it. I did give them a piano because I think they play piano, and she like dances around the cottage in the movie, so that piano felt necessary for me. And then I gave them a little collage wall. I had to keep the apple motif with that painting. Is it a painting? Whatever it is. I had to keep the little apple motifs and just give them a cute little like wall art moment on the wall. Now I will say, when we go back and do final looks, you'll notice that I went through and kind of broke up some of the wall with different wallpapers and things like that, and I added a little bit more clutter. I just forgot to record it, but that's okay because you'll see it at the end of the video. Now we move on to the bedrooms, and this I was very nervous about. I knew that I wanted to give Snow a double bed, and I love that this was like a quilted, that like maybe it's not her bed, but the dwarves, who I guess don't exist because she hasn't had them in our Let's Play, but like in the story that we're doing Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, maybe they would have quilted it, I don't know. And then I used these horse ranch beds and then mixed up the colors so that they give it a little bit of variety in terms of like which dwarves bed was which. That's something we'll decide as we have the dwarves during our Let's Play. But again, like, we're gonna have to swap some of these beds out as they start being had and need to go into cribs and toddler beds and all of those things. But aesthetic wise and for the sake of the build, I just went ahead and gave them their full beds. Now this bathroom was tricky, and I think the final bathroom ends up being completely different from what we see here. I was like, okay, I can fit a shower, I can fit all this, and then I realized that if I'm gonna have like toddlers and children, like I have to have a bathtub. So I end up scrapping that look and giving us a bathtub in the end of it. And then again, I had to think about gameplay, so I started adding in kids art tables, toy boxes, things that like as kids they're going to be able to do skill building, and we're really going to be able to play and make this functional for the legacy challenge itself. I also decided to give a chess table, and then that brought me back outside to add more details because, one, they can grow intelligence from playing chess with each other, with Snow, with whomever, and after that I was about done. I just kind of gave it a second pass, added a ton of details, and we have our final product. I absolutely adore this cottage. I did change some of the swatches just to make it feel a little bit more richer, but look at how cozy and cute this is. Like, she's gonna raise 7 kids here. And you know, maybe she doesn't move back to the castle. I mean, I'd want to retire to a cabin in the middle of the woods. Look how cute this is. We've got a little tree for her to talk to her birds. We put a table out here just to make the space usable and hopefully make it feel a little less cramped inside. a moment for the living space. Look at how beautiful it is in here. I mean, I'm tooting my own horn. I built it, but the clutter in the kitchen. See how I added the wallpaper? Because Snow White is a German fairy tale, if I'm not mistaken, and I really felt like that wallpaper helped bring some of that out while still making it feel like a cozy cottage. Like, just the wallpapers, it breaks it up a little bit more. I used the same thing in here, added some gems next to their bedside tables. I love this build so much, and I cannot wait to play in it. If you made it to this part of the video, let me know down in the comments, what was your favorite part of this build? I think for me, it's the exterior. Just like, it's a warm, cozy vibe, and I love it. This build is available for download on the gallery. If you also want to take a shot at the Princess Legacy, you can start in the cottage. I do have a creator code, so if you go to download and you realize you don't have all the packs and you want to treat yourself this week to a pack, feel free to use my code BeezoPlays at checkout. It doesn't give you a discount, but it is a free way to support creators, and it would be greatly appreciated. Regardless, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and subscribe and like, and don't forget to turn on your notifications so you don't miss out when I post new content. And that's all I've got, so until next time, go do something with your life. Peace!